When I got the bag of Amazon's #1 best-selling potting soil, I was stunned by what I found. Bat poop mixed with crab meal, fish emulsion, and earthworm castings. Sounds like ingredients for a science experiment, right? But here's the twist. Countless of plant lovers are raving about this unusual soil mix. Hello, my dear plant friends, Juliet here. Today we're delving into something truly wild. I decided to repot my perfectly healthy pothos into this unconventional mix and have been monitoring its progress over the past month. From mysterious ingredients to surprising results, trust me, it's been quite the journey. You might think I'm crazy for using soil containing bed droppings, but this premium mix from FoxFarm is hailed as a plant superfood. After a month of testing, I am excited to reveal whether it lives up to the hype or is just an overpriced dirt with clever marketing. Stick around because I'll be sharing what really happens when you open the bag and if the smell is as bad as a lot of people say, why so many plant parents are obsessed with bat poop, whether my pothos thrived or barely survived, and if this premium soil is actually worth your money. Before I get my hands dirty with this exotic soil mix, let's see what we're actually getting for $24. According to the Ocean Forest Soil description, this outdoor and indoor plant soil is designed for all container plants, and many reviews are mentioning that it can be even used for succulents and cacti when amended with extra drainage materials. The packaging has very bright colors and features fish and forest images, and it says here a unique blend of good things from the earth and sea. At 12 quarts, it's a decent size and it feels substantial when you lift it. The bag has a date and time stamp on it. It was packaged on May 30th this year at 8:45 a.m. So this soil was stored for about 6 months. I will check how fresh it is now and if there are any issues. There are small holes on the back, and these are designed for ventilation to prevent mold and to support stacking without damaging bags, which is very beneficial. However, the same holes can also allow gnats to enter, which is not a good thing. Mold and gnats are common complaints and reviews of this product, but these issues do not always originate from the soil itself. When soil isn't stored in a dry environment or is kept near infested plants, mold and gnats can become an issue. In my experience, many garden centers, distributor warehouses, and shops do not store soil properly. If you receive soil shipped directly from the manufacturer and you find mold or gnats, it could indicate a product issue, suggesting the company may not be maintaining adequate quality control. So now, after we have explored the packaging, let's talk practical stuff and see how many plants we can pot using one bag of this soil. With 12 quarts, you can pot approximately 20-25 small 6-inch plants, or 2 medium 10-inch plants, or 1 large 12 or 14-inch plant. It very much depends on the size of each plant root ball and the depth of the pot you are using. I've heard mixed things about this soil, so I am very curious to find out what we got. Looking at the bag, I can see that the bag lacks a tear strip, so I would have to use scissors to open it. It also doesn't have a resealable strip, which I would prefer for properly sealing and storing any unused soil. I am cutting under the sealed part of the bag to get it open. Okay, the bag is open, and next I will smell it, as there are many reviews on Amazon with complaints about the issue with the way the soil smells. Here is one of the reviews. Very distinct smell, very rich, and my house smells like compost. I am diving in. It doesn't smell too bad to me. It has a very earthy aroma. I will let you know if the smell gets worse after the soil is being watered and stays wet for a while. Let's take some soil out. Alright, the first thing that catches my eye that it has a deep, rich brown color. The texture looks good too. It's light and fluffy with some bigger pieces mixed in. See how it clumps together when I squeeze it, but it still breaks apart easily? That's good news for your plants. It'll hold moisture but won't suffocate the roots. There are little white specks throughout which are perlite for extra drainage. The soil feels moist, but not soaking wet. That is important because you do not want to start with a waterlogged soil. I am not seeing any mold, which means the soil was properly stored, and there are no sign of pests, which is definitely a relief. Now let's explore all the exotic ingredients packed into the soil and understand how they contribute to keeping our plants happy. We have here aged forest products, sphagnum peat moss, forest humus, perlite, and sandy loam. We also got some pretty interesting stuff: bad guano, earthworm castings, fish meal, crab meal, shrimp meal, fish emulsion, and oyster shells. I know this combo sounds a bit odd, but your plants are supposedly loving it. Now let's talk about why these ingredients are so great. Aged forest products. These are finely decomposed wood materials like bark and wood chips that improve soil structure, drainage, and nutrient availability. Sphagnum peat moss is a soil amendment made from partially decomposed sphagnum moss, and it helps to loosen dense soil, improve aeration, and help soil retain moisture. Forest humus is organic material that accumulates in soil from the natural decomposition of plant and animal matter, creating a nutrient-rich layer. It's essential for soil health as it improves soil. Perlite is a lightweight, porous volcanic glass which is added to a soil to improve drainage. Sandy loam is a mix of sand, silt, and clay, or something similar for extra drainage as well. Bad guano, in other words, bad poop. It is rich in nitrogen, which is excellent for promoting leafy growth in plants. Earthworm castings, simply put, earthworm excrement. These are like a plant superfood. They are full of nutrients and a good bacteria that helps roots grow strong. Plus, they keep the soil nice and fluffy. Fish, crab, and shrimp meal are where the ocean part comes in. They give your plants a boost of phosphorus and potassium. Phosphorus supports root growth, while potassium helps keep roots healthy. Phosphorus encourages flowering and fruiting, while potassium aids in both. Potassium also helps plants resist disease and tolerate stress. Fish emulsion is a liquid fertilizer made from fish byproducts and can include heads, bones, guts, shells, skin, frames, and blood. It is used in soil to improve plant health and soil structure. Oyster shells are used in soil to improve its pH level, provide nutrients, and improve drainage. All these ingredients create nutrient-rich soil that retains water while allowing airflow to the roots, like a balanced diet for plants. However, some plants might find it too rich. Another important thing to know about soil is its pH level. pH is a measure of soil acidity or alkalinity, and it affects how easily plants can absorb nutrients. pH level 7 is neutral. Most houseplants prefer a slightly acidic pH between 6 and 6.5. So let's see what ocean forest soil pH level is. I am using my digital moisture and pH meter, and it is preset on neutral number 7 reading, and the reading of the ocean forest soil is 8. It is on the alkaline side, but this should change over time due to the decomposition of organic matter and the breakdown of fertilizers. I will monitor the pH levels of the soil and will test it in a week and in 1 month again. So my first impression is pretty positive. The soil feels high quality and should be great for plants, but looks aren't everything when it comes to potting mix. What really matters is how it performs over time. Now I will get my hands dirty and see what ocean forest can do for my plant. Alright, this is the moment of truth. This perfectly healthy pothos is about to meet its new home, a mix of bad poop and ocean creatures. So, am I crazy for doing this? Maybe, but we're about to find out. I've got everything ready. My brave pothos volunteer, this gorgeous terracotta pot, of course our mysterious ocean forest soil, and my pH and moisture digital meter to track exactly what's happening. First, let's add some soil to the bottom of the pot to get the plant properly positioned in it. I'm actually a bit nervous. This soil is super rich and there is a chance my plant might not love it, but that's exactly why we're doing this experiment. Now I'm gently taking my pothos out of its nursery pot. Look at these roots. They are absolutely perfect and healthy. Let's hope they stay this way. I carefully loosen them up to help the roots to spread out in their new home. Next, the scary part, placing my pothos in its new home. No turning back now. The pothos is in, now I will add more soil around the plant. As I'm doing this, I'm noticing how easily soil falls into the place. It's not clumping or getting too compact, which is exactly what we want. I'm not packing the soil too tightly and not going to fill the pot all the way up to the top, as this could cause the water to spill over the sides during watering. And the potting is done. I would recommend washing hands after working with the soil, as I did, and wearing gloves if you're potting a large amount of plants, as this soil contains organic materials, fertilizers, microorganisms, and nutrients that may irritate sensitive skin. Now comes another crucial moment, the first watering. Let's see how the water is absorbed. It's not piling up on top, which is great, but it also not really rushing straight through. This tells me the soil is doing a great job of holding onto some moisture. Let's check the soil moisture levels to ensure the plant is properly watered and that the water has reached the lower roots. I will insert my meter as deep as possible, avoiding hitting the bottom of the pot, and the reading is wet, which tells me that the pothos is well watered. My pothos is officially set in its new exotic home, but here's the real question: will it thrive or dive? Over the next month, I will track any signs of stress. Will my pothos thrive or struggle? Will the leaves remain vibrant and green? How quickly will the soil dry out? Will the smell intensify over time? And more. I'll share my observations with you and results in 1 week and in 1 month. See you in a week. Hey everyone, it's time to check on our pothos experiment. Let's see how my plant is doing after 1 week in its new ocean forest home. I've been keeping a close eye on my pothos and I am excited to share what I found. Visually, the plant looks pretty happy. The leaves are looking nice and perky with a healthy green color. The baby leaves, which are more delicate and sensitive, also do not show any sign of stress. This is a great news and my plant is adapting well to the new soil so far. I noticed white marks on this clay pot that weren't there a week ago. These marks are typically mineral deposits from the water and nutrients in the soil, which can be accumulated and leave residue on the surface. This is especially noticeable in clay pots due to their porous nature. FoxFarm Ocean Forest Soil caused this issue quickly, which is more likely because it is very nutrient-rich and contains a mix of organic materials, nutrients, and fertilizers. Now let's talk about the soil itself. After 1 week, the soil is still quite wet. Normally, the soil of small plants and clay pots, which are much more porous than ceramic or plastic pots, dries out quickly and would typically reach lower moisture or dry levels after a week, but not ocean forest soil. I was worried about moisture retention, but I'm happy to say that despite being wet, the soil feels light and airy to the touch. That's a really good sign, as it means the soil retains moisture longer without becoming waterlogged, allowing air to circulate and ensuring the roots of my brave plant aren't suffocating. Also, there is no mold present and the smell of the soil has not become worse or stronger since spotting. The pH levels have dropped to 6.1, making the soil slightly acidic and placing it perfectly within the ideal range of 6 to 6.5. For now, I'm pretty impressed with how the FoxFarm Ocean Forest Soil is performing. My pothos is showing all the signs of happy, healthy plant, and these early results are really encouraging, but we are not out of the woods yet. While my pothos seems to be thriving, the real test will be how it performs in the long run. Will it continue to put out new growth? Will I start to see any signs of stress from the plant staying in moist, wet soil for longer periods? Only time will tell. I still have more observations to do, and for the next 3 weeks, I will keep a track of how fast the soil is drying out, how pH levels is changing, and how the soil is affecting my plant's growth rate and overall health. Hi everyone, after a month in FoxFarm Ocean Forest Soil, my plant is showing some signs that it is not too happy. As you can see, a few leaves have developed brown and yellow spots. I suspect that my plant isn't liking the long moisture retention of the soil, which I was concerned about before potting it. Let me break down the watering frequency over the past month. When I shared the 1-week update, the soil was still quite wet 7 days after repotting and watering. I checked the soil every 5-7 days, and it wasn't until day 18 that the plant needed its first watering in its new FoxFarm soil. At that point, the plant looked pretty good with just a small yellowing tip on one leaf, a very common sign of mild transplant shock after repotting. Now here we are 13 days since that first watering, so let's check the soil moisture level to see where we're at. It's between dry and moist. Let me use my finger, double check if the soil is dry enough. Yeah, it is dry enough. The plant is ready to be watered. What is interesting is how the timeline has shifted. After repotting, plants often take longer to absorb water due to initial stress and the adjustment period. But now, when the pothos has adapted to its new soil, it's absorbing water more quickly, but I guess still not quick enough for this guy. When plants are repotted into a new soil mix, even high-quality ones, they often experience transplant shock. For some plants, this stress can be worsened by the moisture-retentive nature of ocean forest soil, leading to symptoms like yellowing and browning leaves. Additionally, ocean forest soil is pre-fertilized and nutrient-rich. Many people have reported that the excess nutrients can overwhelm certain plants, causing symptoms like leaf yellowing and browning, especially in plants like pothos that are not heavy feeders. Now let's check the pH level. 7 days after repotting, the pH level was 6.3, and now the pH level is 6.8, still in the ideal range. So I believe that the combination of prolonged moisture retention and the rich ingredients in this soil are behind the issues I'm seeing with my pothos. Here is what I would like to do. I'll water my plant now since it's ready, trim the affected leaves, and observe it for 2 more weeks to see if it adapts better to the soil with more time. Alright guys, let's give this guy a drink. The water is going down nicely. Alright, you see the water is going down pretty good. Alright, now I'm gonna cut all the bad leaves so the plant doesn't have to waste its energy on supporting them. One more. Let me see. I'll report back in 2 weeks with my final ranking of the soil, keeping my fingers crossed. See you soon. All right, my dear plant friends, the moment of truth is finally here 2 weeks later. Did my brave little plant thrive, or did the bad poop and fish cocktail turn it into a botanical disaster? Let's find out together. I am glad I have made the decision to observe the pothos for 2 extra weeks before giving my rating to this soil mix. I am happy to report that the plant does not have any major signs of not being happy. Overall, the plant looks great. This tells me that my pothos has acclimated to this soil. First, let's take a good close look at my plant. No major brown spots, just a little yellowing and browning on one leaf. That's not bad at all, considering the nutrient punch this soil packs. Overall, the foliage looks green, perky, and happy. Let me test the soil. The soil moisture levels after 2 weeks shows me it's dry, which means the plant can be watered today. So the soil is holding moisture well, but not excessively. For us, it means less frequent watering, which saves us time. Now let me check the pH reading. It's still in a perfect range. And for everyone worried about the infamous bad poop aroma, I can report that the smell has not intensified and it smells absolutely normal to me. Now for the part I was most nervous about, checking the roots. Is my pothos thriving under the surface or quietly plotting its escape? I will take it out and take a close look. All right, my dear plant, let's see what you got there. The roots look fantastic, healthy, and there are no sign of root rot or burn. This is what I was hoping for after all the transplant drama earlier on. Before I rate the soil, let's talk about the hiccups. No soil is perfect, and here's what is mentioned in some reviews and feedback. The most significant drawback of this potting mix is its intense nutrient content, which can be too strong for some plants, especially young plants, and I believe this is what contributed to the yellow and brown spots on the leaves of my pothos. Rich organic matter in this soil can attract fungus gnats if it stays too moist. I did not encounter this problem in the test, but it's something to keep in mind. You would need to monitor moisture levels carefully to prevent this issue. While this potting mix can be used for succulents and cacti, it requires extra effort to mix in additional materials such as perlite to ensure proper aeration and drainage for this type of plants. Some people consider FoxFarm Ocean Forest Soil to be more expensive compared to other potting mixes on the market. The 12-quart bag that I had is $21. While it is praised for its high quality and nutrient content, the price point can be a drawback for those looking for a more budget-friendly option. Another drawback I have discovered from this pothos experience is that some plants might experience significant shock after being potted in this mix. While my plant has recovered, others may not be as resilient. So is it worth it? Here is my take. The soil maintained good moisture levels for a longer period without becoming waterlogged, and the pH levels stayed in the ideal range. The soil has excellent drainage, and water is absorbed quickly without pooling on the surface thanks to added in the mix oyster shells, sandy loam, and perlite. FoxFarm Ocean Forest Soil is rich in nutrients containing organic ingredients like earthworm castings, bad guano, and fish meal. This nutrient-packed mix means plants often do not need extra fertilization for weeks or even months, depending on their growth needs. If you're growing established houseplants, vegetables, or plants that love rich soil, this mix is fantastic. But if you are repotting young plants, starting seeds, or growing succulents that prefer lighter soil, consider using a different soil or mix this one with a lighter medium. Quick note before we wrap up, I am not sponsored by FoxFarm, and I bought this soil with my own money. My goal here is to give you an honest review based on real results so you can decide if this soil is the right fit for your plants. For my final leaf ring, I'm giving FoxFarm Ocean Forest 4 out of 5 leaves. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close for many indoor gardeners. Just remember, no soil is one size fits all. The key is matching the right soil to the right plant. What about you? Have you tried FoxFarm Ocean Forest or any other exotic soils? Share your experience in the comments. And if you want me to test another wild plant product, let me know. It might just be the next experiment we try here together. Until next time, green up your life and keep smiling.